That's a cracking shot there.
Oh, big shot, right into the crowd.
I'm glad to be online and joined by Scotland superstar stroke, bit of a freak talent if you ask me, George Munsey. Welcome to the show, George.
Thank you very much, Shaky. Pleasure to be on.
It's good to have you, mate. It's good to have you. How's things? How you been have you been enjoying lockdown?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been tough. Managed to get on a few runs and just try and keep the old mind ticking over and doing what I can, really. How about yourself?
I've got a 5-month-old daughter who's kept me very busy, driven me up the wall a couple of times, considering normally I'd be able to get a little bit of time out and go to work or go do something. You know, being in lockdown has been a wake-up call with such a young baby. But no, it's been kind of a blessing in some ways, because normally I wouldn't get to spend as much time as I have. So no, I'm pretty thankful. At the same time, I'm ready to get out there and back into the real world. But no, I think you've got to take the positives out of everything. What have you been living alone, or you with another half, or?
Yeah, so I'm just with my missus. She's still been working through this period, so I've managed to have the flat to myself most of the time. So playing Call of Duty with the boys has been the go-to.
Is that with the old headphones on and a bit of banter at the same time?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, let's get straight into it then. This is an interesting one for me, Muns, because for those that don't know, I mean, I never played cricket with you. I think my only memory of you is playing a regional game at Ayr, if my memory strikes me correctly. I didn't last very long at the crease, but I remember you were fielding at mid-off, if I'm right. This was right back when the regional stuff started. Is my memory, am I right there?
Yeah, I think so. I might have been 12th man actually for that game. I'm not sure if I even played that. That was when I think that was one of Smudge's final games, and he was slog sweeping it everywhere at the park, batting sort of at the back end. Yeah,
I think that was the first year of the introduction of the regional stuff. So you would have been obviously just starting to make your way into the regional setup. I want to take you back to kind of your childhood and whatnot, and talk to you about. I believe you were born 21st of February in 1993.
Yeah, getting old.
Trust me, mate, you're not getting old. You know, if you're getting old, then I'm getting really old, and I'm still trying to stay. Just keep telling myself that I'm reasonably young. 1993, great year. A year after Pakistan famously won the World Cup, so it's, you just missed that year. But I mean, where were you born? What was it like growing up?
So yeah, I was born down in Oxford. Grew up there, playing a lot of golf, playing a lot of sports. Went to school down there. Just remember lovely hot summers, just being outdoors all the time, and following the old man about, be it on the cricket field or around the golf course, and just having a lot of fun outdoors.
So your old man, your sport kind of came through your old man. He was a keen cricketer, played a bit of golf. So you just kind of you just kind of fell into that then.
Yeah, definitely. My old man, he played every sport under the sun. His probably best sport was tennis, but he was a handy golfer and a handy cricketer. I think he top scored for Oxfordshire 173 or something in the over. I think it was the over 45s. So he could hold a bat, or he used to hold a bat. So no, there was some.
Listen, anyone that can score 100, it's clearly can play a bit. So, what age were you when you how long did you live down in Oxford for?
So I've been down in Oxford since, until about age 12. Then I moved to school in Scotland at Loretto. But growing up, most of my childhood was down there at the local cricket club and the golf clubs down there. So good fond memories of being back in Oxfordshire.
Well, you can tell you're from Oxford. You're a very well-spoken young chap there. You know, it doesn't sound like I'm talking to some of the riffraff from Glasgow or Edinburgh. So I'll do my best to talk a little bit slowly for you today, Muns, so you understand me.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, you did start with Flanners, so you're not really setting the bar that high.
I mean, you probably needed subtitles for that episode.
Exactly. Thankfully, I've been with Flanners for a while now, so I can just about get the second or third word.
So, when you say you came to Loreto, was that just you yourself came as a chip, or was the family moving up here, work, etc.?
So I got a golf scholarship to Loreto. I moved up to boarding school by myself. The family stayed home, but my dad works in Glasgow quite a bit, so he ended up driving for about 5 years up and down the country from Oxford to Glasgow every week, and he was always just the other city across the way there to come give me some cash when it ran out, or whatever you needed.
Yeah. No, but that must have been quite daunting. 12 years old, making a move from home, away from your home comforts. I mean, I didn't leave home and go to kind of play cricket abroad until I was 17. So by 17, you're a lot more. You're almost a young adult by that point. But 12 years old, I mean, lucky you obviously had your dad around. But how was it initially? Did you find that transition quite difficult?
Well, thankfully, I actually went up the year before I started. I had like a trial week. And it was when we were, sitting exams, and Loreto were looking for potential golfers to join the golf academy. And I was lucky enough to get invited to do a trial week, and I had so much fun. I couldn't even tell you that I was just hoping and praying that I'd get one of the scholarships and can make it there. And I think when you're that age, it's quite an easy age to adjust. And I was just super excited to get stuck into some high quality golf, new surroundings, and make some new friends. So I was quite lucky it was at that age, and I think any later it would have definitely been a lot harder. But at that age, you're so malleable. You just get on with it with a smile and everything.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, just the excitement. It sounds like it was a great buzz for you. So being around loads of different lads and doing with the same passion, I imagine that just kind of filled any kind of. If you went away for like boarding school, maybe with people that didn't share a lot of the same passions and didn't maybe put it in, I suppose it would have been maybe a little bit more challenging. But would I be right in saying then that golf was the first love then, or the fact that you went and moved away from home to play golf as a scholarship? I'm assuming that was kind of you were looking to be a pro golfer at that point.
Yeah, definitely. Golf was probably my first ambition. I think I was sort of well on the way to making golf, a potential career for myself. I think, I was very lucky with my upbringing to play loads and loads of sports and just, really enjoy sports. And going to Loreto certainly, helped path the way for golf. It's also just, growing up with my old man, I used to follow him around all the sports that he played, and golf was probably the only one that I could actually play with him as well. So we actually ended up playing a lot more golf than other sports. I used to go down and watch him play cricket, and I'd end up playing with myself in the nets whilst he was playing, and with the other kids around. But golf's a very inclusive sports. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are, what standard you're at. There's something for everyone, and it sort of got me hooked quite early.
So is it safe to say, at the age of 12, 13, 14, you were already potentially beating your dad on the golf course? When did you start taking the title off him?
Well, he made a bet with me when I must have been about 8 or 9 years old, and he said, "The day you beat me is the day you get a new set of clubs."
Okay, good incentive.
Yeah, good incentive, and I'm not joking. I think it was 3 weeks later I beat him. And it took him 4 years to get me a set of clubs, and I still hold it to him to this day that he didn't get me a set.
You must have been thinking 3 weeks later, what have I said? Because as we know, a set of golf clubs is not a cheap investment. It's a lot more, probably one of the more expensive sports you can play. I mean, the cost of some of these clubs is unbelievable. But okay, he got it in the end 4 years later, so he did deliver. Well done, Mr. Munsey. Good on you. So safe to say then, Dad was already getting a gubbin on the golf course from a very young age. It must be pretty difficult for a father to deal with his 12 or 13-year-old son when he's been trying to succeed in golf for all his years. But I could talk to you about golf all day long. But let's get on to the subject that I know a little bit about, which is cricket. Did you play cricket then? Was it like golf mostly, and then start playing a bit of, Loreto playing a bit of cricket as well, or did you join a club, or when did the cricketing start taking off?
Yeah, so just like a load of other sports, I played everything, and it was all school time and outside school time that I would play all these sports. But outside of school, it was very much cricket and golf, and those were the two sort of passions of mine growing up. And that down south cricket is huge, and it's growing a lot in Scotland, and it's getting bigger and bigger. But we're looking now almost 10 years, well, almost 20 years ago, it wasn't as big in Scotland. And it's just, I remember coming to Loreto on a golf scholarship, but also enjoying everything else that they had to offer with cricket, hockey, all these other sports, rugby. And going to a school with a golf academy, and some of your mates running off to play cricket, and you're on the golf bus, you start thinking about what else is there, what else could you be doing? So the transition started to happen quite quickly into cricket. And
Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just saying that, and it's always been something that's been on the back burner for from an early age growing up playing cricket. So it's something I've been playing most of my life.
So what was the first club you joined?
My first club was probably, I think it was Kennington CC in Oxford, and then quickly moving to Cumnor Cricket Club, where my old man played, and I've still got quite a few some good friends there that still play and don the whites on a Saturday and play silly time cricket when it allows for half the season. Yeah.
So what club was the first club you joined in Scotland?
So at Loreto, we played on the weekends, so we didn't actually play too much club cricket. But in the holidays when I could, I started playing for Musselburgh CC.
Okay,
yeah, I used to get picked up by the captain, who would come pick a few of us up to try and bolster their club team. Yeah. Thankfully, we didn't have to pay for teas or match fees just back then. Nice. But my first proper club was probably Grange, when I started investing time at men's training sessions, and actually outside of school, that was probably my first proper club in Scotland.
What age would you have been at that point?
Joining the Grange, I think I was 16, 17.
Okay. So at that point, I'm trying to think who were the kind of the guys kicking about in the Grange side at that time. I mean, you're talking name me some of the boys that were kicking about. Some recently, retired boys: McCullum, Gregor Maiden, Smudge, Stuart Davidson, Stuart Moffat, Sanj Patel, Giles Holmes. Yeah, it was a serious dressing room. Yeah, good team. I remember. I was just trying to work out the years there. It's such a long time ago that I was trying to work out who would have been around. But I played against those teams, that team a lot. I mean, you obviously you've got a lot of good guys there for you to kind of look at and train with. Obviously, what was it like playing with Neil McCallum? Bit of a character, eh, Macca?
Yeah,
when he's got his clothes on.
Well, that wasn't very often, but look, I was very lucky to be in a dressing room like that at that age. It's quite a critical age that for development, and without a shadow of a doubt, I was very lucky. Obviously, Macca is absolute legend. He loves to play little tricks on you, and when you're new in the dressing room, you're the biggest hit. But back then, they had such a good dressing room. But I was batting. I think I was batting 10, even 11 at times, and opening the bowling back then. I wasn't really making much of a dent in the first team. But when you had such a experience of players, it was just a good place to sort of learn your trade and see how the guys go about their business.
Okay. When did the batting talent really start to? When did you start to realize that there's something here?
It was probably at Loreto with Michael Powell. Obviously, we were quite lucky to have a director of cricket with such pedigree, such experience, playing at Warwickshire for so long, captain Warwickshire,
Yeah.
a few titles. He was quite a big part of my development. I remember in my last year, for example, at school, just started to find my way of scoring runs, scoring hundreds whilst trying to whack sixes, not every ball, but a lot of the balls. And he was a big part of that to, trying to tame every ball going for a six and just try and start to construct an innings. So I think it's, it started probably in lower six, upper six at Loretta in my last final 2 years with him. And then just the experiences that you get along the way, building up your way in club cricket, hitting a really bad shot and then getting absolutely torn a new one from some older people that you really respect.
Yeah.
That teaches you a lot. And I think all those little opportunities I got growing up, even playing from Musselburgh when they, just used to put me up top to say, go on, give it a bit of a lick up top, and playing with freedom really sort of, helped guide me to what I've done so far and what I'm trying to do in the future.
Yeah. I'm going to just kind of go into your international career, which kind of kick-started quite a bit, I believe, around 2014, 2015. Now, I didn't know much about you in junior cricket. Obviously, we're miles apart in age, but I'd heard your name floating about in the club cricket. By the time you kind of came in and really announced yourself, the whole National League had kind of disappeared. So I wasn't really getting, we used to get to see the Edinburgh players a little bit more firsthand, but I started hearing this name, George Munsey, gives it a bit of a whack. And you're always sceptical in Scotland, because I always think, listen, he's probably a club bully. Let's see what he does when he comes to the international cricket. So I was curious to see, what happens with you. Are you going to get found out when you come into playing a little bit higher ranks? Now, clearly, that's not happened to date, and touch wood, it long may it continue that doesn't happen. But 2015 T20 tour to Ireland was kind of your first introduction to international cricket. Talk to me about your memory of that.
What a memory that is. So we played at Brady, and I don't know if you've played at Brady.
I've not played at Brady, no.
Okay, let me describe it for you. It's a council estate with fences around, and you've got this amazing cricket club in and amongst this estate. And you hit the ball. I think it was Kevin O'Brien hit the ball a couple of times over the top of this, and you go into the estate thinking, "Geez, I might not come back here." But it was a surreal moment to go on.
Yeah.
I think it was my first actual away from Scotland tour as well. And you're in the middle of nowhere, lots of fields, quite a dark hotel, and I'm like, this is international cricket. This is the business.
I've made it. This is the stuff teams are made of.
I'm sharing. I can't remember who I was sharing a room with him, but all I remember is being about a foot away from him in bed. You'd sit in single beds lined up next to each other, and you're like, this is
strange. This is strange. I mean, I toured Ireland a good few times. You would either you'd get the pleasure of playing at Stormont, or Malahide. It was obviously more recent times. But that sounds a bit dull, man. So did you, cricketing wise, how did you get on that trip? How did you find it? First experience?
I could be honest, I don't really remember myself batting. I think I did all right. I must have done okay, because they kept me on, for a few more games after that. But I generally can't remember it. All I remember is being far too close at mid-wicket when Paul Stirling was batting. And I wasn't really concentrating. And when I'm in the field, sometimes I get a bit distracted. And he hits the ball hard. And I didn't follow cricket back then. I was just sort of, who's this relatively short, slightly bigger guy coming up to bat, and oh my God, he just smoked it through point first shot, and I was just like, oh, this guy can play. Next shot, pull shot, and I managed to catch it, but I didn't see it, and that was sort of, my introduction to playing against Ireland, and actually going, do you know what? Actually, they're pretty good.
Yeah, no, they produce some talented batters. Actually, I've recorded with Paul Stirling, so I'll be launching an episode with him soon as well. Freak talent. I remember the first time playing against him as a 16-year-old. He got 120 at Miko Riggs in a game, and when he came out, to look at him, it's the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. That certainly applies with Sturlo. But fine player. You went on to make your ODI debut. Not long, no, actually before that, there's a big moment that you had. First class cricket debut for Northamptonshire against Australia of all teams. I mean, my first class debut was against the Dutch in Holland. What was that? What was that like going out? I mean, you must have been pinching yourself. I'm playing against Australia in a first class game here.
Yeah, that was another good moment that I remember quite clearly. It was I think it was the last game before the Ashes started, and I'm pretty sure that everyone that played had been told that they're not getting picked for the Ashes for the first game. And all I remember is Costa absolutely smoking it, but standing nowhere near his stumps. Who else? I can't remember too much else, but I just remember Costa swinging his way to, I think he got 87. And, I'm...
So who was the attack? Who was running in it? Who was running in? Do you remember some of the bowlers?
Pat Cummins, Peter Siddle, Mitch Marsh, Nathan Lyon, and they had a leggy. Who was the leggy?
Fawad Ahmed?
No, it was a younger one. Younger leggy. Anyway, and so I just remember, I was batting 7, batting low down the order, and we just Costa and another, I can't remember, put on a massive partnership, and I was just sitting there, not with pads on or anything, just going, this international cricket thing, it's easy, isn't it? Just smoking Australia around the park. And then it hit me, 2 quick wickets, got to start padding up and going, oh God, what am I going to do here? I think the first over was against Peter Siddle, and I think I played a missed out of 5 out of 6. Just had it on a string, swinging it in a little bit, nipping it away, and I was like, struggling a little bit. And then Pat Cummins steaming in the other end, and I managed to actually get chip a few away for 4, and I almost felt sorry for him because it didn't look graceful at all. I think I hit one good ramp shot, like over the slits. And then he went, right, that's it. He had 5 slips. He was like, that's enough. Slips out, short leg, catching behind the bat, sort of short fine leg, 2 guys out on the pool. And Adam Voges was at short leg, and he goes to me, do you know what? I feel sorry for you for what's about to happen. And I said, don't worry, mate. I'm not staying in line of this. And lasted 3 balls. He hit me, one in the middle of my chest, one on my arm, and I've still got a picture of the bruise to the day. It was all the way along my arm, and then I got one on the glove, and I got caught behind. So I lasted 3 balls after annoying Pat Cummins. But it was, I think I batted for about 45, 50 minutes, just sort of digging out at sort of 27, which, for someone that's played mostly white ball cricket and club cricket when it's been red ball, I think I did all right. And, that was a seriously fun memory to have in the bank.
Yeah, I mean, what a character building moment for you, more than anything. I mean, not probably one that you look back and think, oh, I smoked it that day, but 50 minutes against the attack you named there could potentially be an Ashes attack. No, on day 1 of a Test match, no problem. I mean, it's a good effort that you managed to stay out there for 50 minutes. Good on you. I want to now get on to talk about when you started whacking some runs and some highlights that I've got in your career. We've got some of the, and I know you've been scoring runs already, but some of the real big announcements. I mean, 2017, you made your ODI debut against Hong Kong, and not too long after that, you played in a match for Gloucestershire. And I need to ask you this: did Bath have anyone bowling that day that could get it down 22 yards? Because how the hell did you score 147 off 39 balls? Well, I mean, that pretty much it looks like you hit every single ball for 6.
Yeah. Have you been to Bath Cricket Club?
I've not been to the cricket. I played against Bath. I played against them many years ago when I was at the YCs, but I've not been to the cricket club. What's it like?
It's amazing. So, they've got indoor facilities. They've got a car park that they rent out and make a lot of money off right in the middle of Bath on the river. But the pitch itself has got, quite short, straight boundaries. And we're talking one end's about 50 meters.
Right,
and
okay.
on those small pitches, you just don't know what a good score is in T20
Yeah.
cricket, and it was one of those days that just from ball one, I attacked from ball one, and it just from ball one it just went, and they're few and far between, unfortunately, but I just remember just trying something and it would just happen and it would just come off. But it was Gloucester Twos versus Bath Cricket Club, who are a good cricket club. They've got a really good setup. It was quite an interesting day.
Well, listen, look, I'm not disgracing, you're not, or the Bath attack if any of those people are watching. But just for me, I grew up in a different era of cricket, Muns. I grew up where you went out and you made 70 off 75 and you came off thinking, you know what, I'm pretty bloody happy with that, almost 100% strike rate. You coming into an era is totally different. And I think, respect to you for the way that you've just come out into this form of cricket and just played the way that you've always known. I've seen too many cricketers in Scotland get into the national team and they automatically change the way they play. They think to themselves, right, I'm playing for Scotland now, I'm playing against the counties, I'm playing against the international team. I need to take the... You seem to have just never changed from club cricket coming into this form. You went out to play in another T20 competition, the World Cup qualifiers. And that's a tournament where you really, really launched yourself as a, probably was going to hopefully take you into more T20 leagues, etc. around the world. You were tipped to be the man to watch. How did you feel about that? Did you feel any kind of pressure on you going into that tournament, knowing that people had expectations of you?
Is this the T20 qualifiers in Scotland?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it was cool. I did feel a little bit more pressure. I'm not going to lie. I thought, I was still well under the radar with everything that's happened and the way the build-up's been. I do remember Toby Bailey trying to hide my reverse sweep from teams because he didn't want people to know that it was my go-to shot, especially
your trademark.
Yeah,
I am going to come on to the old reverse sweep. I do want to talk to you about that in a little bit more depth. But yeah, just how was that kept? How was that kept secret? I mean, how much cricket had you played against the associates at that point?
Well, so I wouldn't have played that much against most of the teams.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this was allowed or not, but I'm pretty sure there was warm-up matches which weren't uploaded to the public domain.
Right. I played in one of those warm-up games. I played for a pros 11 against Canada at the Grange. So I don't know. I've always wanted to see footage of that, and I was never able to get it. So I think you're probably right.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't know the honest reasons, but I know that there was a lot of footage that we tried to have a look at, but we couldn't see because it hadn't been uploaded. And there's probably far bigger reasons why they weren't uploaded, but it's quite nice to think that it was a tactical plan. But playing at home, we had a few warm-up games at Golden Acre, and we played most of our matches at Grange. We just know it so well, and that gave me bags of confidence. Especially we played against Jersey at Goldie, and at Golden Acre, beautiful pitches, really short, square. In corners, it can be quite long, but for the reverse sweep and the slog sweep, it's it's a batter's dream because the pitch is true, doesn't turn too much, good bounce, and you can really attack the boundaries. So having that as an early warm-up game and getting runs under my belt sort of really put me in good stead for the tournament. And being based at the Grange, where I've been practicing growing up, and it just felt right. Everything felt like home for me. So that was a massive advantage, especially when the angles on the sweeping down the hill and where you can and can't hit. So that was a big factor for me being successful in that tournament, especially as that being my first Scotland tournament. Yeah.
So you performed well there. The one that really stands out for me is sorry, I got my stuff a bit middled up there. There's also T20 qualifiers that you go to in the UAE. Is that's further down the line?
That was. Yeah, there was a what was it called? Desert T20 in UAE.
Desert T20.
Yeah.
that's the one that you scored. Is that the one you scored 234 runs in 8 matches, leading run scorer in the tournament?
No, I had the worst tournament I've ever had in my life in the Desert T20, and it still gives me nightmares. I remember batting 1 to 4. They tried to put me everywhere, and I couldn't get a run.
So the 234 runs in 8 matches came in Scotland?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, my bad. So yeah, that tournament, you obviously really announced yourself. Playing at Grange, you say, was just obviously things just clicked. You knew your surroundings very well. Talk to me about just your mindset when you go to the crease. I mean, do you think 6 from ball 1, reverse sweep from ball 1? Like, when I watch you, and I've seen a bit of you now, obviously we're going to talk about some other games, in particular the England game. But, you know, I love the arrogance, mate. Talk to me about it. Like, is that just, you back yourself that much?
Well, I think that came from a golf coach, I'm pretty sure. He said, you know, as long as on the surface you look cool and calm and everything else will be all right, no matter what you're feeling inside. But yeah, I think with my batting and the batting style, I try and find a way. Whoever's bowling, I just find the easiest option to hit them for 6. You know, take some examples in our dressing room. Adrian Neil on a good flat wicket, there's not a danger I'm hitting him for 6 over the sight screen. However,
Yeah.
I know that he'll drop me 2 or 3 balls in, you know, back of a length where I could potentially score off. But that's just because of his natural attributes of being quite tall. So, you know, someone else like, you know, a Mark Wood who's quite skiddy, you know, you can actually just stand still and just swing through the ball because it's just going to come on, you know, quite quick but real nice. It doesn't have too much bounce on it, so you can, you know where you can go after him. You can actually be a bit more conventional and hit him quite straight and drag it to a corner if you need. So I think with my plan and stuff, it's all about working out what are the bowler's strengths, what they're trying to do, and where they're trying to bowl it, and what's my best option to their strengths, and how am I going to hit them for 6? Because it's definitely 6 first, 4 second, and you know, if I have to, I'll do the rest. But it's where's the most successful boundary going to come from to that one bowler?
Well, I mean, from listening to you there, it's great to hear you talk like that. I mean, my mindset would always have been going out. If I try and hit a 6 and I get out here, I'm going to look like really bad, or you know, coach is going to have a pop at me. Has that got something to do with the backing that you have from your coaching staff and your captain? That it's just, you know, this is what we want you to do what you do best.
100%. It comes from the whole team dynamic. I think what you saw, you know, we'll talk about the England game later, as you said, but what you saw there was years and years of a team dynamic and a team space working together and growing as a whole unit. I think, you know, the coach and the captain and the senior players have such a big job to pull everyone in the direction that they need to go as individuals. And I think, you know, I hold massive credit to Grant, to Toby, you know, Craig Wright. I remember Wrighty back in the day, under 23s, going, you know, what are you doing playing this little hook shot? I've seen you hit that for 6. Don't waste time. Just, you know, from ball 1, if they drop it in, it goes. And, you know, I was quite lucky to have Wrighty, Bales and Grant at that stage of my career who put a lot of, you know, faith in me to go out there and to try and really, you know, be destructive in my way. And, you know, especially with Costa and, you know, Preston as captains as well, they were, you know, very good leaders for me, because I remember playing against Preston in a club game, and he got 100 first, and then I got 100 second. But I think mine was off about 50 balls, his was off loads, and he walked off saying that you know, don't change the way you're playing. Make sure you play like this for Scotland, and have people like that to give you that sort of direction when they've done it. And, you know, then they're still doing it, like Costa's, you know, racking up the runs still. And, you know, that's a big inspiration for, you know, players like me.
Well, it's good to hear, you know, because normally I think the play that's safe, the Scotland of old, like you say, 10, 15 years ago, when cricket wasn't as big here, you know, it was more the safety first option. It's fantastic to hear that you're getting backed by your senior players, your coaches, who see this talent in you, because we need players like you to change the game in Scotland. paved the way for the next generation of kids to come through to look at you and say, you know, I want to hit sixes like George Munsey. I want to play the reverse sweep like George Munsey. Big innings. You know, that a lot of people have told me about and mentioned that this guy's just a, you know, he's a freak talent. Came against the Dutch, where you whacked 127 off 41 balls. I mean, that is just ridiculous, mate. I think, if I'm right in saying, it's the second quickest T20. I don't know if that's changed now as well, but reading up on it, that it was once. You know, I think maybe De Villiers is the only one that's maybe done it quicker. But that is crazy, mate. Talk to me, like, what was it? Just one of those, you know, everything just coming out of the middle?
Absolutely not. I was struggling at the start. How
dare you say that? How dare you?
I was 3 runs off 8 balls. I wasted my first 10 deliveries. We had so me and Costa opening up in Ireland at Malahide. What a place that is! We talked about Malahide early. Great cricket facility, great batting track. Just, you know, it's set for batters. Let's be honest. Boundaries are quite small, but I really struggled in the first few overs. I just couldn't get it off. Well, I couldn't get it out of the ring. But then Costa, from ball 1, was just hitting boundaries, and we were 30 after 2-point-something overs, and Costa was flying. And I think that the biggest thing for me that day was Costa played the quick innings at the start, and I think all successful T20 team innings, someone's gone hard from the start, and that took all the pressure off me, and it just made me, you know, just say it's not been a great start, but I've got time to catch up now because of Carl at the other end. And I think that's something that we've done quite well over the last few years, is we've sort of dovetailed in. I've gone quickly, he's gone quickly, and there's not been too many times that we've done it at the same time, but that was just, you know, he set a great platform for, you know, the rest of the batters and myself to just go. And when the right bowler came on, that's when the switch flicked for me, and you know, it's managed to start raining a few sixes in, which was always good fun. And batting with Costa that day as well, we put on 200. 200,
yeah, bloody hell, 200 opening partnership in T20 cricket. That is incredible, unbelievable. But just to hear you say that he was flying, and then you just hit into your gear. So how many balls did Kyle, being a, you know, he's a smart campaigner, he's experienced, did he then just push you that bit more to say, you keep going and I'm quite happy to play second fiddle?
I'm not sure he played second fiddle. I think he only faced 50 odd balls, because he got out in the, must have been about 13th over, 14th over. Yeah. So he was flying as well. He got 90 odd. But the great thing about my relationship with Kyle when we're batting together in T20s is we just trust each other. We know what each other are going to do before the ball's bowled. We don't talk a lot of cricket. You know, we say what the bowler's doing, but then we don't say what we're going to do. We just go out and do it, and we have a lot of fun. You know, I just remember that day batting with him, talking about what we're going to have for dinner. Whose six was bigger, that one or the one you hit three balls ago?
Nice.
And then I do remember we were on 199, and I remember looking at the scoreboard going, wow, we're on 199, one more run, and we've got a double 100 partnership. And he took the biggest swing and missed. And I'm like, Cosy, everyone's out. Come on, just one. We just need one. Just edging it to the third man to get our 200 up. And I knew that was a pretty special moment for both of us, and you know, something I'll cherish for a long time, batting with him for that length of time.
The fact that you're right and left-handed as well must have just been an absolute nightmare for the bowlers that day, to just be able to find any rhythm, especially if the two of you are just tonking everything all over the park. Watching you bat, what I've seen of you, you obviously play the reverse sweep. You play you like to hit you hit very well over mid-wicket, the spinners in particular. Is that your two kind of main options, reverse or six?
It kind of depends, because early on, it depends on where the field's set. So I'm quite comfortable going downtown, hitting the slope screen, going straight. I actually think that's the safest options.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams now start with someone out on the reverse sweep and then someone else on the sweep. So just
Are you finding now? Are you finding now that teams are getting a bit clued up with you, and they're putting that in place?
Yeah, opening up, I've had a fine leg and third man in a T20 game versus spin, and I'm just thinking, what is going on here? Like, this is free hits, like a driving range. But yeah, a lot of teams will definitely have the reverse sweep out just to keep that quiet, and then probably a long on. But it gives you so much more of the pitch to use, and I think, ironically, the reverse sweep has become less of a threat by being a threat because they're now blocking that and allowing a lot more space elsewhere. But I think, early on in my innings, it's very much a safe option for me. I believe it's a safe option, and something that I'll just keep going to, especially if the field allows and the right bowler comes on.
When you say it's the right option for you, I mean, bloody hell, I was nervous sweeping the conventional way, thinking if I miss this, I'm LBW. Where did is it something you worked on from your young days? I mean, it wasn't. I mean, growing up in Scotland, I didn't see too many people practicing the old reverse sweep. I know the TV and some of the international stars started doing it. Who was the person that you maybe seen doing it, or you thought I want to work on that?
Well, I think you nailed it earlier on, talking about the arrogance and the confidence. I was playing club cricket, and it was a pink ball game, and I just remember I kept swinging and missing, and just this medium pace bowler, typical club cricket, coming on bowling 55 mile an hour and just wobbling the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do, and I wanted to keep trying to hit boundaries, and I couldn't. So I remember just reverse sweeping him, and then from literally, I always did it against spin, but never done it against seam. And then I just started doing it more and more, doing it more against spin, more against seam. And that was, back in 2011, 2012. And then I just practiced reverse sweeping. And that's when I started trying to, channel what areas I can and can't hit, and working on different things. And I think what Grant brought to the squad was never be afraid to experiment. And if you practice it and if you work hard enough at it, he's never going to tell you off for getting out. And I think there was a pivotal part in my career in the one-day stuff. It was in Papua New Guinea. I got put at 6 after doing really well in the warm-ups in Australia on flat wickets, and just going out, doing what I was doing, hitting some boundaries. But then we got to Papua New Guinea. It was turning square, and I've never really batted 5 or 6 before. And I think I was 25 off 55 balls because I was trying to play straight back cricket, knock it around, get the team to a good score. And Grant came to me and was like, "What are you doing? You should have been reverse sweeping them all day. That's why we picked you." And I said, "Oh, sorry, I was trying to bat like a number 5. And it took me a few games to actually go, you know what, this guy's perfect for a reverse sweep. What am I wasting time not hitting it? So it kind of really started for me there with the Scotland stuff, going, well, I trust it and I back it. It doesn't matter what stage of the game it is. Doesn't matter what the ball. If I feel it's on, it's coming out.
Oh, good, clear mindset. Good to hear the coach is clear with his message. It sounds like that's been a big pivotal part of why you've been allowed to do that. I mean, if maybe you'd had been pulled up once or twice and said, "Listen, you need," like the thinking that you had there would probably be my thinking, and the thinking that the national team kind of had when I was in it, where it was like, "Why did you do that? You gave your wicket away." Whereas it sounds like we've moved into a new time. Grant, everybody I speak to talks about Grant, talks about his influence, and it's evident to see during his time as a coach, Scottish cricket did some things that we've never really, I don't think, seen Scottish cricket doing. That all, came to its kind of head in the England game. A lovely Grange. I've already spoken to a couple of the boys about that day, and you were obviously a crucial part of that performance that day as well. I think, when you look at the game, Crossy, Kyle opened up, nice, 100 open stand. We then lost a couple of wickets pretty quickly with Kyle and Crossy getting out. Richie and Callum really smart kid, but then, you know, we're able to keep the run rate going, got us to over 200. When Richie goes, as a watching on, you're thinking, right, we could be in a bit of trouble here. You know, not that I wasn't backing you, but you know, you're playing in England here, top one-day team in the world. Are we going to lose all that kind of momentum that we've got, and you know, maybe get close to 300 and the game gets pulled back? Well, the answer is no. You stroll out, and pretty much straight away the reverse sweep comes out, and it was like you lifted the. I mean, I remember watching it on the TV. Unfortunately, I wasn't there. And you played the reverse sweep, and I was out. I can remember just getting out of my seat and thinking, "Well played, lad. Go on, like back yourself. Good for you." I mean, what was that again? Just had you been sitting watching, thinking, "This is there for me to go out and play my reverse sweep"?
Not really. That was a weird one. The way Moen bowls, he bowls relatively quickly, gets a bit of drift and a bit of spin, and he's got the ability to bowl really fast. So that's probably the only dangerous thing to do when you're sweeping is someone's got the ability to beat you, especially with the pace they bowl. But I remember playing and missing at the first ball with a straight bat and going, "What are you doing?" Like, people haven't come to see people block it and miss it. And I just remember going, he's round the wicket. He doesn't have anyone back on the fence. If this is any other game, I'm reverse sweeping. And all I remember doing after ball one, all I remember doing is chuckling and looking at Cloudy and smiling. And he knew, and I knew that the next ball was doom or bust, you know. And it was a boom or bust, sorry. And it was going to be reverse swept one way or another. And thankfully, it came off the middle, and that was me. But it's funny you say that, you know. The crowd did lift, and I still get goosebumps to this day because when I look back at it, it was the crowd that day were absolutely amazing, and you know, it just shows there's such an appetite for cricket, especially top level cricket, on a nice sunny day, and you know, the direction that the Scotland team have come in recent years, it just shows that we can do it and produce, you know, such a great thing to watch. And it's a shame this year, obviously, the internationals haven't been allowed, obviously, because certain times. But, you know, the new revolution of Scotland cricket's coming through to start really beating these teams and putting on a good show for our fans.
Yeah. No, I think you know, that performance that day is the best that I've certainly seen in my lifetime from a Scottish team. I mean, you went on to. You know, you hit the ball all around the wicket, but probably, like you've just highlighted there, the adrenaline hit in after that early reverse sweep, and you probably you backed yourself. And you know, the Scottish players don't get the opportunity to play against these kind of teams very often, so it's hard to go out there just knowing that, well, I can do this. You need to get the experience to do it. Whereas now, the likes of yourself and the rest of that batting lineup, you should back yourself against any team in the world at the moment. Is that how the mindset feels?
Well, definitely, and I think that came from before the England game. We had a great build-up in the World Cup qualifiers in Africa. The direction from the coaches and the captains, Costa, has been, you know, especially for that England day, was like, we're going to beat England, so why not today? And that just put us in a really clear mindset, because it doesn't matter about failure, because as long as you're trying your best and you've got, you know, really clear mindset and you're going out to be positive, the game goes in your favor. And I think that day the game did go in our favor because we were bolder, we were braver than England, the number one team in the world, the England team. We went out there with better plans and more aggressive plans, and you know, we executed them really well.
Yeah, no, listen, from ball one, talking to Crossy on the podcast, he spoke about it. You know, he was a bit concerned about facing Willie because he knew, you know, he shaped it a little bit, and he said, I just got one out short outside off, put it through the covers, felt good about myself, felt I'm ready to go. Kyle, we all already know, you know, he's proven himself at that level. I mean, his knock against Bangladesh, for instance, in the World Cup, just ridiculously talented. But there was a couple of question marks over what the rest of the batting order could do, and you boys, you know, should take so much confidence from that, and I hope down the line. Obviously, the other thing was the disappointment of not qualifying for the World Cup through quite a you know, not so great system. I don't think that I didn't allow us to get into that. made us probably, the boys were probably still in a bit of a downer. You know, you had to pick, but I think that knowing that the old enemy were coming to Edinburgh, you had to pick yourselves up, and we did that so well. And then the fielding performance, I mean, that was the way Bairstow and Roy came out. I mean, Bairstow in particular, he was hitting the ball at will all over the park. And to be honest, at one point it looked like, until Mr. Moeen Ali decides to put one straight down your throat at long on, it looked like England were going to stroll it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that just shows the quality in the pitch of what Grange, have produced over the years. I think Bairstow was a level above everyone that day. The way he struck the ball so cleanly and, like you say, at will to all around the ground, just shows the talent that he is. That was his third ODI 100 in a row. That's a serious feat. And we were clinical in the field. We had two main, really big runouts. Obviously, getting Root was huge. The mix-up between him and Alex.
Michael Leith throwing from the boundary right over the top of the stumps, quality.
Yeah, and that's something we worked really hard on, because our motto back then, our mantra was, we may not be the best bowlers, we may not be the best batters, but we can be the best fielders. And that was something that was really drilled hard into us. And it's funny looking back now, and all those cold days at Fetties or MES late nights, and you're doing fielding inside, breaking your hands because it's hard floor, hard balls, but it all pays off. And it just gives you goosebumps to think all that hard work came off on that one day when we needed it to be perfect, to beat. We only won by 7 runs, and we had to be absolutely 100% in the field, and we were 100%.
So when Sappy bowls that Yorker and hits Wood on the full, where were you in the field?
Thankfully, I think in the last over, for some reason, I think I was at third man. I'd been at Kennel Corner most of the day, and I don't know how I've managed to get to third man and just watch it all unfold. But all I remember
Did you run? What was your reaction? Obviously, camera was on Sappy at that point, so I wouldn't know. Did you have a pause? Did you just sprint? What was the feeling?
I just remember turning around and just seeing. So we had a lot of the office staff behind me on my left, and then we had the corporates on the right.
Okay, I know exactly where you were down at the 10 side. That's right. Yeah, I think a certain was it Mr. Cannon. He was the CEO at the time. He was fairly riled up running on the pitch.
Yeah, you just see his shiny head popping up and giving it a big one. But no, I just remember seeing the corporates just really up and getting involved, and you never normally see the corporate guys, loving it and almost taking off their shirts and ties and ripping off out into their skinnies. But I just remember running in and celebrating and just being like, WTF, what's going on? This is absolutely incredible. And it was so surreal, and it definitely didn't hit me for a few days, well, probably a few weeks, because we had Pakistan a few days after. But I just remember walking around the boundary with a beer in hand and, signing autographs and just going around the public and going back into corporate afterwards for a few cheeky beers and just sort of embracing everyone that was there that day to enjoy what was, a really good moment for for Scottish cricket.
Yeah, no, you're giving me goosebumps listening to you. You pick it because that's why we all play the game. Especially for international level, that was always something that you strive to beat a test playing nation. But to get to do it at the Grange on a beautiful sunny day from a packed house, I don't think it could have been written any better. I hope we go on to beat England again at some point in the near future. Maybe doing it on their soil. That would be something as well. You're right. We then kind of got humbled. A little bit in the T20 series against a very, very, very good Pakistan team. They also come with a lot of spin talent. Is that something that you think we need more exposure to moving forward to really be a powerhouse? Because in T20 now, it's not so much the pace bowling that seems to be running the show. It's these spinners that do really well.
Definitely. It was quite hard to transition from beating England in a one-day game to then go in to face the next number one team ranked in the world in T20s. It was something we were prepared to do, but in such a short space of time, cutting celebrations short on the greatest day in Scottish cricket to then focus the day after at training and the day after that for the first game versus Pakistan. I thought actually as a team we were very professional, and we got ourselves in a really good headspace.
So you're telling me then that nobody crawled in at 3 or 4 o'clock that morning, then you boys you enjoyed it for a bit, but then took yourselves back at a reasonable time?
I'm fairly confident to say that everyone was.
Were you sure that Richie Berrington fell into that category as well?
Richie is one of the most professional men I've ever come across.
Absolutely.
Absolute legend of a man.
Yes,
yeah.
is.
So, no, I just remember everyone being in the changing room afterwards. We stayed a long time at the Grange, and I just remember everyone being absolutely knackered after the emotions. And I think quite a few of us went to obviously the Rayburn next door, and that's where a few celebrations kicked off. But I know all the guys didn't have that late at night at all, and we had a team meeting at 10 o'clock the next day. Everyone was fresh and raring to go for another opportunity to beat another number one team in the world, Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. That's good to hear, because I mean it would have been quite easy to lose yourself in that moment and take your eye off the ball. But obviously, coach, captain, squad knew what the task was at hand. You played some good cricket in the T20 game. There were some moments that were quite good in the Pakistan games, but overall, I think it's just you need more exposure of T20 cricket when you're coming up against these type of players, and I think it will stand you in good stead the next time. Yeah, unfortunately, it won't be this season, but down the line, I hope it will stand us in good stead when we play against those type of teams again. Obviously, all these performances, Muns, T20 freak talent, somebody that world cricket is now talking about, which is great to see as a fellow Scot. It's seen you get picked up by the Brampton Wolves in the global T20 Canada tournament. There was yourself. I know Crossy was out there. Kyle was out there as well. Was Richie out there as well?
Richie, Cloudy, and then Evo came as well.
6 guys, man. That's fantastic for us as a nation to get people involved. Talk to me about your experience. You've done pretty well. One of your highlights was you scored a 66 in one of the games. Where you're up against some pretty Mitchell Clenaghan, I think, and you had Moses Enriquez, some good bowlers coming at you, and you tonked them all over the park. Talk to me about just the experience and what kind of players you were around in that tournament.
Oh, it was absolutely amazing. I think it's something that associate cricketers and our Scotland lads need to do more and more of. I think it just opens you up to a new level of cricket. Obviously, in my team, I was lucky to have Riaz, Shahid Afridi, Darren Sammy, Colin Munro, Ish Sodhi, just to name a few. But you talk about playing against Pakistan. Well, there's no better thing than to do is actually play with them and learn off them and see what they do and how they go about their trade. I think the more we can do that as a group and individuals, the more experience we can bring back and just keep developing everyone in the Scottish system, which is vitally important. I think that tournament for myself, it was bizarre. I had a lot of fun. My teammates were amazing. My coaching staff was absolutely brilliant. Apart from day one, we turned up to training on day one, and I broke my thumb. It was in the net. It was in the nets. The nets were terrible. They were doing all sorts, and I just thought, I need 5 minutes here, get my head straight. Literally, I think it was ball 3, jumped off a length, and I broke my thumb all the way down one side, and it was not in a great.
It wasn't off Wahab Riaz, was it?
No, it was sidearm. It'd be even worse. I can't even say it was Wahab.
Right, those things. I'm not sure about those things. I'm glad I didn't come doing the sidearm era. Those things they fly.
Yeah, they can come down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a terrible start to the tournament. But I just remember we were very lucky. Our physio and doctor has been to the IPL. I think he's done 12 seasons. And he just pulls out, I probably shouldn't say this, a blank little bucket full of pills. He's like, these will help. I took one, and then 10 minutes later, I'm starting catching, and everything's great, and I couldn't feel a thing. So I was on
I'm
these.
glad you didn't get drug tested anytime soon after that. It sounds like it could have been quite an interesting tablet, but you know. So
No.
I'd imagine it would have been some sort of anti-inflammatory or something just to numb the pain as much as possible. But so you managed to then you played the rest of the tournament with a broken thumb?
Yeah, so it was just strapped up, and I was on these painkillers, let's call them. I got what is it? UT special. It's where you get a doctor's note, and you're allowed to take the drugs to perform at a certain level. And yeah, I had to take the pills 10 minutes before we started. Couldn't take them in warm up because I'd only be allowed to take a certain amount. So I didn't do much in the warm-ups, and then absolutely fine. Couldn't feel a thing. Occasionally started to forget to do stuff like watch a cricket ball when you're fielding. But it wasn't until afterwards I sat down. Adrenaline would obviously come down, and my thumb was just absolutely throbbing. And he used to get take his shoelace out of his shoe, tie it around my thumb really tightly, and just let the blood drain out back in and forth. He'd do that for 10 minutes, and it would cool it down.
Proper old school techniques to get you by. Well, you must be a pretty brave lad as well. I mean, a broken thumb is no. I know there's probably a lot of players, I reckon, that wouldn't have fancied it after that. But I mean, how is it now? Have you had any long-lasting damage, or do you think you're in the?
Yeah, no, all good. Thank you very much. I didn't miss a game. I didn't miss a training session. It was an absolute bizarre thing. Thankfully, it was the bottom hand. So I actually started playing straight, which was weird. But it was good fun. And look, the tournament itself is absolutely brilliant. And it's a shame that the Scotland one couldn't kick off. I think the local lads, I made some really good friends out there, and the local lads, they learned so much, and there was such a good vibe around the dressing room. And they had 4 or 5 Canadian players. They didn't all play, but they're all learning from that dressing room. And I would love to see our young lads be in the dressing room with these guys, learning off them, the way they prepare for games, the way they, their mentality to how they go about cricket and how they go about getting away from cricket, which, as you know, is one of the biggest things that a lot of young players don't actually understand or know how to do. And it was just a fantastic tournament. I was very blessed and lucky to have such good teammates as well.
Yeah, just on some of the guys you played with there, I played against and played with a couple of those guys. How did you find Shahid Afridi?
He was absolutely hilarious, and what a talent! So he hadn't played cricket for 3 months, and his word. It might be true, it might not be true, but I believed him. He hadn't touched a cricket ball for 2 months.
That wouldn't surprise me. He's a busy guy. If he's not involved, he's constantly busy. He does a lot of charitable stuff. So I believe him. I believe that is the case.
And he was bowling at me his first over for 2 months, and he's landed a leggy perfectly. And I just wanted to watch it, so I was just patting it back. I was just watching him, long hair, spinning the ball, and I was just watching him, just in a bit of awe, really, not really having a practice session. And then I was like, oh, he's doing all right for a 42-year-old. And next ball, googly, didn't pick it, fall over. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to start concentrating here. And that's when the reverse started coming out. And he was just a freak, to be able to not play cricket for so long and bowl leg spin, which is by far the hardest thing to do in cricket as a bowler. And be so accurate, and between him and Ish in the middle overs, they won us games of cricket every time. And both of them, to have 2 gun leggies in your side, they couldn't get us away. It was turning pitch. I think Ish's first figures were 5 for 7. In a T20 game, that's on tiny boundaries. So it was brilliant to watch how those 2 went about their business, and just how relaxed. Really easy to be relaxed when you're as good as him, and he's been around for so long. But to be as fun as him and to enjoy the game at 42 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, 42. I had maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years on there, but I mean, what the main thing about it is the shape that he's kept himself in. I used to watch him when I played for Pakistani Customs out in Pakistan. Afridi used to use the gym there. And I don't know if you've seen him training in the gym while he was out there, but he trained hard every single gym session, like real high intensity. So there's a reason he's managed to keep himself on the pitch that long. One other guy I want to ask you about, don't know if you managed to catch up on one of my episodes, but Darren Sammy I just interviewed recently. How was it playing with the big man?
Hey, he is so cool. Just the way he walks, the way he talks, before games, after games, during games, the swagger he brings is quality. Obviously, I was lucky to play with him in the T10 as well. He was my captain there, captain in Canada. It's just the way he acts. I remember bumping into him in the airport in London on the way to the T10, and you just hear the "Yeah, Munsey," and he just you just look and you go,
Public, such a down to earth guy.
"Oh my
Such
God.
a down to earth guy. No,
He's easygoing guy, just great character, and he plays the game in a great spirit, and he also gives it a bit of a whack as well, which is nice.
He can. He can hit he plays with a real long. He's got like long. He's just got levers on him, man. He just manages to. He's a bit like him and the lad Braithwaite for West Indies. I mean, he doesn't even look like he hits it, but he's just got these levers, and the ball goes for miles. Listen, it's great to hear that, and you're right. Unfortunately, we didn't get to have our tournament over here. I think, fingers crossed, moving down in the future, it does happen because for so many reasons. One, for the likes of yourself and some of the other up-and-coming players pushing to play for Scotland to get to rub shoulders with the best, but also for the general public, kids coming through. It's huge for them to be able to go and watch. I mean, it's exciting to go and watch a regional game here and there, but if I, for instance, from a fan's point of view, know that Dale Staines is going to be running in at Titwood this afternoon, or a Darren Sammy might be playing in a Afridi, the punters are going to come in, and I think that's what's lacked in Scottish cricket, that it's only really the games against England or a Pakistan touring team that the punters really come in to watch. So hopefully, fingers crossed, moving forward, the tournament can be launched again, and I think it would be fantastic to take it, because since the England victory, there is a real excitement in Scotland about cricket, which has never been there before. So, great stuff. Great to hear, listen to your insight into that experience. I'm sure you'll inspire many young kids watching to think, I want to do that one day as well. I want to finish with a couple of quick fire questions, just a bit of fun. Don't think about your answers too much. Just give me what comes to mind. Your favourite cricketer and why?
Marcus Trescothick. Grew up watching him. Doesn't move his feet too much. Just stands still, and he was actually quite graceful as well. But not a lot phased him. He was a big lad. He just stood there and took whatever came his way.
Good answer, mate. What a player, as a fellow left-hander. Just freak talent. Who's the quickest you've ever faced? I mean, the old Cummins must be up there if he gave you that after your earlier story.
Pat Cummins.
You reckon probably at this stage?
Yeah.
Quickest?
It was also a red ball, and I'm not a big fan of red ball cricket, so I could barely see it.
Okay, nice. That was a disadvantage at early doors then for you that day, man. You probably were hoping that you didn't survive 51 minutes that day. You probably were hoping that could have been in the hut with him. I know when I played against Australia, Johnson hit me in the arm, and I genuinely wanted the ground to open up and just swallow me. You might have felt like that day a little bit as well. What do you dislike about cricket? What's the one thing you don't like about cricket?
Probably the amount of time that we have to stand in a field and not doing too much. I think probably the main reason I've gone to more T20 way of thinking, not only for my batting, but I think the enjoyment there for a non-bowler. That's what I am. To stand in a field for 150 overs in a day is just not. It's not appealing. And to be in and out in 3 hours and still manage to take 5-4, still manage to score 100, I think is it's brilliant. And even when you're fielding, in T20, there's always something happening. So I think
you want to concentrate.
Yeah, so I think the long periods in the field that you get is probably the only thing I dislike about cricket.
Well, listen, from a cricketing point, I'm a total traditionalist. So I love my Test cricket. I grew up watching Test cricket. I formed my batting on Test cricket. So me and you are probably like the two total opposite left-handers. I wish I could whack a cricket ball like you. There's not I had to take 6 steps striding down the wicket to be able to clear the ropes. It's very frustrating sometimes to sit and watch you bat and just see you go down on one knee and plonk it miles over the rope. But it's again great to see. Next question. I could probably answer this one for you. What's your favourite thing in cricket?
Whacking sixes.
Yeah, I thought
Making the bowler feel as small as possible after a nice length ball and just teeing up and saying thank you very much. There's nothing better.
Has that come from your, see, you're obviously a great golfing talent as well. Do you think the hitting the sixes came from the fact that obviously when you hit a golf ball, apart from when you're putting, you hit it long and far? Do you think that's just been something that's been instilled in you from a young age?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of sports help my cricket. I think hockey was a big factor, especially for the reverse sweep. I think my long swings definitely come from golf, and occasionally when I'm posing at the end of a six, it looks just like a golf finish as well because I've got such a long follow through.
Yeah.
So I definitely think all these sports growing up have helped me no end, and in pushing the boundaries of what I can do as a cricketer, and and also like you say, not being fixed in that box, like what you were talking about, the way you would come and play an innings in longer format cricket doesn't mean you have to play that in different forms of cricket. You can try different varieties of things to try and hit the ball further, which is currently what I'm doing out of lockdown as well, is lifting weights and experimenting with things to see if I can hit the cricket ball further.
Even further, there won't be a ground big enough for you, mate, if you hit it any further. You've already been hitting it. What advice have you got for young kid, 13-year-old, wants to play cricket as his profession? What do you say to him? Him or her, sorry. Obviously, lot of I'm hoping to get some women cricketers on in the near future. So obviously there's potential in both avenues now.
Yeah, definitely. I think just starting off, I think cricket offers such a great lifestyle, especially with the way cricket is moving into the modern era of T20 cricket and the places that you travel to. I think cricket couldn't be a better avenue for the next generation of sportsmen and women. I think for the youngsters, it is so vitally important to just keep playing all the sports under the sun. You never know when that will come in handy with the sport that you finally choose with. Hopefully it's cricket, because that has definitely helped me no end, especially we talk about hockey and the reverse sweep and, golf and the swing. All these sports really helped me progress. But the main thing, for cricketers is to just keep finding love and enjoyment of the game, and don't be tied down to what if I get out, what if he hits me or her for six. We just need to let that go and just embrace every moment and just enjoy it for what it is, and also for what you like out of the game. You might not want to hit sixes. You might want to just survive and bat for hours on end, so you never have to be in the field. You just got to find your enjoyment as well.
So what does the future hold to finish with, Muns? What's the roadmap? What's your goals? What do you want to achieve in the next five years of your career?
IPL's big on the list. I want to get to the IPL. I want to experience the IPL. I want to just keep doing what I'm doing. I want to play a few more T20 tournaments. I wouldn't mind ticking off a few more records. And I want to have some fun with my mates. I love touring with Scotland. I think we've got a really good bunch and really like the dynamic at the moment. Obviously, this has been a real shame what's currently happened, but times aren't always easy. But I'm really looking forward to meeting up with some new teams and Scotland teams around the world, and just trying to put my aggressive spin on whatever game I come across.
Well, listen, mate. From my point of view to you, it's been a pleasure catching up with you. It's been really interesting to hear how your mindset is, how you approach the game. I think you've got a really good attitude, a real kind of confidence about you, which I like to see, because I think in international cricket, you've got to have a bit of an edge about you, or you're going to struggle to survive. From me to you, I wish you nothing but the best moving forward. Hopefully we can catch up again at some point and talk about some of the next couple of chapters that have been written in your career. And I really hope I get to see you play in the IPL one day. And just remember your old mate Shaky if you do get to that point. And we can, a free meal or something would go down nice, because your bank balance will be all right at that point.
Only if you come to Edinburgh. None of this Glasgow rubbish.
I can do that. If you can give me some petrol expenses as well, mate. I mean,
25p
I'm
a
only
mile.
joking. No, I'll definitely get to Edinburgh at some point, mate. It'll be good to catch up with you. But thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, Shaky.